This is one area where as Pietro asked earlier, how did the influence of airplanes, the technology, air technology, affect anti-aircraft technology? In the late 30s, the anti-aircraft community realized that the 3-inch gun, which is what they tried to build in World War One, then they shifted to build the 75 millimeter, couldn't produce enough of those fast enough, shifted back to the 3-inch in the 20s and 30s, and then they didn't produce enough of those because of the Depression and other things, that even that gun could not reach an altitude high enough to shoot at and be effective against the new series of bombers that were now flying above 23, 25,000 feet. So they developed the 90 millimeter. It's 2 millimeters bigger than the German 88, which was being fielded about that time. Franklin Roosevelt, President Roosevelt, was a big enthusiast of the 90 millimeter anti-aircraft gun. He liked the 3-inch. In fact, there's a picture of him looking at one on a cover of a Coast Artillery magazine saying, "That's a wonderful gun. I wish we had a bunch more," in about 1936. But in 1940, as he's coaching the American public that we have to be prepared at least for hemispheric defense, if not expeditionary operations, he actually designs a 3 stamp series. He's a big stamp collector. He designs 3 stamps, a 1 cent, 2 cent, and 3 cent stamp, um, to fund the National Defense Program. And it's all about defense. The stamps all say "for defense," understanding that the American public didn't want to go to war, but they would certainly want to protect their own shores. And the 2 cent stamp is actually a 90 millimeter anti-aircraft gun, and it sold millions between 1940 and mid 42 when they changed the stamp design. Roosevelt drew all three designs for each stamp, but he personally, he drew the 90 millimeter because he had just visited a 90 millimeter production facility in Massachusetts a couple days earlier, came back and hand drew a 90 millimeter gun, wrote 90 millimeter next to it so the artist would know, and then approved the final mint, stamp before it went out to the public.